La fin du régime de Paul Biya et Ngongo. Alors, le peuple ne veut donc plus ce régime. Bienvenue, madame, monsieur. Bienvenue 20h. C'est donc grave pour vous.
Qu'est-ce qui va donc se passer en Afrique? Nous sommes avec vous, madame et monsieur. Rebonsoir à tous et bienvenue pour cette...
3, 2, 1, go!
Ok, c'est bon. Bon! Très urgent, j'ai dit jusqu'à ce matin. Je vais essayer de faire cette vidéo virale parce qu'elle doit être urgente. Je dis bien, viser les cibles, viser les familles. Puisqu'ils ne nous aiment pas, ils nous veulent du mal. Leurs milices sont dehors, ils font du sagat partout. Douala est en pleurs. Il y a des gens qui ils sont en train de déjà vivre. Je dis bien, visez-moi tous ces gens-là. Leurs maisons doivent être visées. Clément Atangana ne nous aime pas. Il a allumé le pays. Et sa maison doit être en flammes. Et ça, je dis bien, Clément Atangana. Je dis bien à Tanganji. Je dis bien Ngongo. Il faut qu'on leur sente ce qu'ils nous font vivre. Il faut qu'on leur fasse sentir ce qu'ils nous font vivre. Cette vidéo n'est pas longue. Je vais demander qu'on me la partage au plus vite. Parce que vous voyez, c'est ce qu'on vous disait ici. Hein. Les 7 ans là seront durs. Hein. Ça sera seulement pour exterminer le peuple. Et ils ont déjà commencé. Vous vous rendez compte? Quelqu'un de 94 ans qui envoie son peuple se faire déjà juste pour ses intérêts, pour rester au pouvoir. Vous avez vu ça où? Qu'est-ce qu'on n'a pas donné à cet individu de Paul Biya? Qu'est-ce qu'on ne lui a pas donné? Et c'est comme ça qu'il remercie les Camerounais. Donc, je vais essayer de faire cette vidéo virale. Je dis bien que jusqu'à demain matin, la maison de Clément Atangana devrait avoir les flammes. Donc, circulez cette vidéo au maximum. Parce que en ce moment, c'est les enfants de Trouy qui sont en train de déjà... On vole les élections au peuple et on envoie les milices. On est en train d'accumuler quelque chose comme 10 personnes qui sont déjà, hein, rien qu'aujourd'hui. Donc, circulez-moi cette vidéo. Tout ça du
Constitutional Council declared something different from what many Cameroonians expected, including certainly yourself and Issa Shoma Bakari. How do you feel that he is not the winner of the October 12th election?
Well, maybe let me just take you a little bit back. Well, yes, I endorse Issa Chiruma. It was a process. I'd met Issa Chiruma twice before endorsing him. I met him twice. Then I traveled. I sent him a letter in which I articulated, it was more of a private letter, certain things that if he assures me that he could do it for my people in this sense is the people of the Southwest and Northwest region. If he could do these things to them, I would endorse him and I would join him on the campaign trail. And I informed him that I'd never endorsed anybody. And I made sure, and I said clearly in my letter to him, that this is not about my personal gain. It's about the people that I feel that I represent, that I speak on behalf of them. That's what I assured him.
So it seems the network is failing everyone today. That is our guest, Felix Nkongo Agbo. They're joining us from Cameroon. Certainly, he will try to sort out his network and join us again.
Can you hear me?
Hopefully, it's working this time. Yes, Barrister.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you on your own. Yeah.
To me, he was the people's choice. He was the candidate of the coalition. And when I talk about a coalition, I'm not talking necessarily about a coalition of political parties. In an interview that I'd given somewhere, I'd said that when the political leaders, if they fail to come together, the people and the civil society should come together and decide and determine their candidate. And that is what happened. So he was a coalition candidate of the people of Cameroon. And that's something which is important. So we did the campaign respecting the laws to the best of our abilities. And from the information that we got, Mr. Chiruma is supposed to have won the elections. And what was logical was that the Constitutional Council would respect Elekam first, and subsequently the Constitutional Council would respect the wishes and aspirations of the people who voted for Mr. Chiruba. Unfortunately, yesterday, the Constitutional Council, which is a body that was created by Mr. Biya, handpicked members of the council tailor-made to satisfy his whims and caprices, to play to his biddings, did the obvious in the eyes of those who appointed him as the winner of the election. It's unfortunate because it was a sad day, a bitter day for this country, for the progress that the gains that we have made as a country in terms of democracy and openness. We took steps behind because of the fact that the wishes of the people wasn't respected by Elekam and the Constitutional Council.
Like you said, it was really a sad day. We saw thousands of Cameroonians really in despair yesterday after the Constitutional Council proclaimed the President Paul Biya as winner. Barrister, I just wanted to find out from you, following up that discussion, because you said that when you reached out to Issa Shoma Bakari, the people of the Northwest and the Southwest regions were your main goal, they were your objective, they were the regions, people in these regions were the reason why you decided to endorse Issa Shoma, because you believed that he is the man of the moment and that he could do something to end the conflict that started in 2016. Looking at the results in these regions that favored President Paul Biya, more than 80% in the Northwest, more than 60% in the Southwest. How do you feel seeing that? Because we've seen a lot of condemnations from people from these regions.
Maybe it was a farce. It's the biggest scam that has happened in this century, in the history of electioneering, racketeering, and theft. This would go down as the biggest in the history of humankind. If you were to equate these to the gravity of crimes, this would morph to a level of electoral genocide. That is the level. It is a crime against a people with an intent to show to the world that people who for the last 8 years have been displaced from their homes, have been arbitrarily arrested and detained, some have been maimed, their villages have been burned, they have not been able to go to school, their brothers and sisters are refugees. They would vote for the perpetrator of these heinous crimes against their people. This is the worst crime that I have seen in this country for a long time. It is embarrassing. It is disgusting. And I will tell you that the people who are part of this widespread and systematic election theft, they have lost any respect I have for them in my eyes. Whether you call them honorable, whether you call them chiefs, whether you call them senators, they are as midgetal in my eyes like anything. They don't need any respect in the eyes of anybody. You cannot tell me, it is unfathomable that you will tell me that in the Southwest and the Northwest, Mr. Biya had to cause the harm. In places where the elections could not be rigged, in Fako, for example, he was clearly defeated. They came up with imaginary votes. And this is something that was spearheaded by the honorable members, senators, ministers. These are people who teach their kids that stealing, lies telling, fraud should be punishable. And they use that as a badge of honor. They are using that for them to maintain their position in government. They are dishonorable persons in my eyes. And I think in the eyes of every sane and reasonable person from the Southwest and Northwest, none of them. And I don't want to use very hard language like Bibi would say, I will spit on their graves, you know. But what they have done to the people of this region, it's so embarrassing. It's so shameful. And they have the audacity to do after parties, to celebrate. What are you celebrating? You're celebrating theft? You are celebrating scamming of people? I mean, you should be hiding your head somewhere.
Yes, just Barrister, I like the way the conversation is going, but maybe you have to take off your headset, Bernard. Am I correct? Because it fades in and out, and people really need to understand and hear you.
Okay, I've taken it off. So can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
This is something that the people who have done this are supposed to bury their head in shame, not to be celebrating. I don't want to say their champagne party would end. Their champagne parties ended. It goes beyond the last kicks of a dying horse. It clearly showed that the people had risen up, just like how they rose up in 2016 and 2017 to say enough is enough. The people had risen up against those who have held them captive for all these years. For those who think only about themselves, for those whose priority is about themselves and the children, at the expense of.
So you are saying that the results that we saw from the Northwest and the Southwest did not exist, and they are false.
No. These are just cooked up results. These are just cooked up results, and they know. Unfortunately for them, the people they are trying to please, their brothers in the party who are from East Cameroon, they know that these results were cooked up. So whoever thinks that this result would be used to reappoint him or her, their comrades know that these results were faulty. These results were cooked up. So at the end of the day, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for that introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry about what just happened with the network. It's just technical issues, and they happen every now and then. We are sorry, but we're happy that we are back. Barrister, in 2018, you are one of those who represented Maurice Kamto and the MRSA at the Constitutional Council during the post-electoral litigation, and you made a strong case for the annulment of the elections based on what happens in the Anglophone zones, Northwest and Southwest regions.
Yeah.
In 2025, you endorsed Chiruma's candidacy, despite the fact that the Constitutional Council kicked out or ignored all the petitions, all the reasoned and intelligent arguments that you made in 2018. Did you have any hope in 2025 that the system was going to read the results from the ballot box as you saw them?
No, I didn't. To be honest, I didn't have any hope. I think I initially said, because you could tell, Elekam and the Constitutional Council. The Constitutional Council was created, tailor-made to ensure that Mr. Biya perpetuates himself in power. It gives it a cloak of legality, because they can argue that this is the highest court in the land that has confirmed what Elekam has confirmed the victory of Mr. Biya, and you cannot appeal beyond the Constitutional Council. So we have a problem in this country because institutions are used as a tool, or the law is used as a mechanism to violate rights, to trample on the will of the people. If you look at the definition of terrorism, the anti-terrorism law, it's just a transposition of the Aijos law that he used, and that has been transformed to a modern anti-terrorism law. So it's always used, unfortunately, it's always used against the people. But there was something in the spirit that says never die, never give up that. Because unlike in 2018, this was overwhelming, that the gentlemen at Elekam and the Constitutional Council would at least for one say, you know what, this is the time to say goodbye to the regime in place, and let's allow the will of the people. Because it was clear even to, I'm telling you, even to some of the members of the ruling party, who I know some of them had called to congratulate us, they knew they were defeated. In private conversations, they accepted the fact that they had been defeated. Everybody who had eyes, the blinds literally saw that they were defeated. There was joy and euphoria everywhere. Because it wasn't about Issa Chiruma. It was about every Cameroonian. It was about the potholes. It was about driving from Douala to Boya. That was enough to anti-campaign the ruling party. It was about the garbage. It was about everything that created an enabling environment for them to be defeated. It wasn't anybody. They themselves created the enabling environment for them to be defeated. Unfortunately,
you've set the pace on the argument that the elections lack credibility, therefore the outcome is not legitimate. And on the legal front, we have already hit the summit of all appeals of all of the legal procedure, which is the Constitutional Council. It doesn't have any appeal after that. And on Issa Chiruma called on Cameroonians to get out on the streets and celebrate the victory on Sunday, which was done across the country. And yesterday we still saw mobilizations across the streets. At this point, is sovereignty coming back to the people? Are the people trying to get back their sovereignty to gain legitimacy? Or are the people going to continue in the line of legality, void of legitimacy?
It's a kind of a catch-22. It's a very dicey kind of situation between people's power that gives them the legitimacy to do what they are doing, and also look at sovereignty from another aspect. You know, when you look at legality, that the Constitutional Council has acknowledged the fact that Mr. B has won. While the streets, we the people, as the Constitution says, they say no, we won. How do we get a kind of a win-win situation? That is to me, that is a question. A win-win situation where Cameroon comes out as the victor in such a situation. How do we understand that people have a right to protest? It's a fundamental right to protest, fundamental freedom them to protest. Their right to protest and assembly. But at the same time, that the state owes them a duty to protect them and not to use excessive force in carrying down the protest, whilst equally also ensuring that the protest doesn't go overboard to destroy public and private property. That is the thin line that one has to navigate. If we were dealing in a real proper world or country where democracy thrives, they would be listening to the people on the streets. They'll be asking questions. Why did we win, but the streets are ungovernable? There is a serious problem. They would be talking. They would be trying to find a solution. Not the kind of arrogance that we have seen either in their celebration or coming out from the mouth of certain ministers, which incites the population, which adds fuel to an already volatile situation. How does everybody calm down and try to reason, and then we'll find a solution?
I think that on this note, we have to bring on board Barrister Michelle Ndoki, who has also joined us yesterday. We couldn't see her beautiful face, but she is here with us today to also talk about the post-election protest and how people have started dying. People are killed. We are seeing in different regions how people are being shot by the military. But the Barrister Felix Kongo was saying something during his discussion with Bernard. He was really questioning the credibility of the Constitutional Council and even the elections governing body, the vote counting commission, and so on and so forth. And I was just wondering, Barrister Michelle Ndoki, I wanted to find out from you, do you think Issa Shuma Bakari was right to have told the people, Cameroonians who have been standing by him, that it wasn't necessary to wait and hear from the Constitutional Council on Monday?
Yes, I think he was right. And I'll give you one reason. Soon after he did that, when the National Commission in charge of compiling the votes gave their own result, you remember the newspapers, first page, everywhere, Biya has won with the majority. It was everywhere. So that means, in fact, it's not illegal at all to proclaim, to announce the results as we know it. It becomes illegal when you're not saying that Paul Biya has won. So I think he was right, because one of the key learnings from 2018 is that we have to own the narrative, because otherwise it becomes a communication battle. We are facing a regime which takes pride in suppressing freedom of expression. So anything, especially if you want to uphold the truth, you have to fight your way to the position where you will be upholding that truth. So the fastest you declare what you believe is right and true, the better. Because otherwise, you find yourself in a defense position where the regime has already spread their lies all over, and I've experienced it in my personal life. How many times was I obliged to show my leg because they had spread a myth according to which I made up the wounds on my leg? How many times? So because you are not there to control that narrative, you lose in an environment like ours. It was crucial for him to say, after everything that has been done, for me to be able to control the results at the end of the day, I can tell you this is what happened, or I'm ahead of my competitors. It was essential, because otherwise it would have been too late. And it doesn't make sense to tell people that it is only the Constitutional Council that is authorized to proclaim the result. Proclaim has a meaning in law. Proclaim means it is you, the body in question, that has the power. The announcement that is made by that body is the announcement that counts. That's what it means to proclaim. That is, you are the one entitled to say, finally, this is what we are going to consider the result. It doesn't mean that nobody can talk about it earlier. And if you take in other countries, where, take France, that I know well, take even Senegal last year. When the following morning they announced that Diomaye Faye had won, it was not the proclamation. That was not a proclamation under the law. The official body in charge of proclaiming the result did that few days after. And the result that they proclaimed was slightly different. You always see a difference of 0.3, 0.4, 0.7%. That is what is called proclamation. But nobody waits until then. In all our modern societies, in France, the day of the election, when they announced this is who is going to be the president of the country at 8 p.m., it is not a proclamation.
Yeah,
it is the result of a census, or yes.
Yeah,
And
even
the
in
proclamation is
Cote d'Ivoire.
After, sorry.
Yeah, even in Cote d'Ivoire yesterday yesterday Monday, the results of the elections were already announced provisionally by the elections management body. And I think the problem in Cameroon is when you stop the elections management body from announcing the results as they come in, you create a dark period, you create a vacuum of information, and that is where they want to control the narrative. And
exactly.
Yeah, you mentioned something about narrative control. Do you think by Chiruma declaring and publishing the reports that you are part of those who collected, he actually won the communications battle and the narrative to the extent that more Cameroonians believe his version of the story over the official version of the story?
Yes. Why is that? Because we've always been working in silos in Cameroon. So you will know what happened in Douala, but you will not know what happened in Northwest and Southwest. So when you know what happened in your polling station and you're happy with what happened in your polling stations, but 2 weeks after they tell you, oh, Paul Biya has won again, you're disappointed, but you can't say anything to the contrary because you don't know what happened elsewhere. By announcing it from a national perspective, he allowed us to be confident that what happened in our own area corresponded to what happened elsewhere. And I think it was important because this was clearly, as Eric Chinje has always put it, a referendum against the regime. So it was important for us to know that everywhere in Cameroon, people, our brothers and sisters, shared this feeling that we needed to get rid of this regime. I think it was awaited as some sort of recognition of all the efforts put in to get to that result. I mean, the voters forgot all the divisions, all the problems of religion, tribes, everything. They just put it aside. They even decided to forget the grievances they might have against Issa Chiroma Bakari. We put that as a people, we put all of that aside because we were of the opinion that the one thing that matters is we know how harmful this regime is to us all over the country. And this is the problem we have to solve as a matter of priority. So
thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you so much, La Fiancée du Peuple. I don't know if you still use that our name, but yeah. Let's welcome Jean-Claude Mbede. He's also been following up developments around the elections, and he just told me off the screen that he's been doing some compilation of reactions. So we were talking with Merton Doki about the communication battle. Jean-Claude, do you have the impression that the communication battle, if it's succeeded internally, has also succeeded externally?
Thank you so much. First of all, I would like to say to great your very great guest, starting from Barrister in Congo. I think this is, I think I saw him last time in Munich 7 years ago. So, and also to Barrister Michel Doki, as well as Mimi. Thank you so much for having me once again. So, talking about communication, yeah, it is what's lacking, I think. And even we are asking ourselves who is governing, who is managing our state at this step, because quand vous voyez ce que ces gens sont en train de faire, les hommes d'État ne gouvernent pas. On ne peut pas gouverner un État comme le Cameroun avec des émotions, avec ce que nous sommes en train de voir aujourd'hui. Ils sont en train de perdre. En fait, ils ont troquer la communication avec la propagande. Et malheureusement, ce régime qui procède par la manipulation a pensé que la propagande allait passer parce que ils sont à bout de leurs prévisions. On ne peut plus rien attendre en termes d'innovation stratégique avec eux. C'est complètement, ils sont au bout de ce qu'ils avaient parce qu'ils n'avaient pas prévu plus que ça. D'ailleurs, lorsque vous avez comme le parti au pouvoir qui a quand même les meilleurs experts, parmi les meilleurs experts du Cameroun qui sont des anciens de communication et de stratégie, on les a mis de côté pour confier la gestion de la communication et de la propagande à des professionnels de médias puisqu'ils travaillent pour des chaînes de télévision, mais qui ont plutôt décidé au cours d'une élection aussi capitale que celle-ci de venir expérimenter leurs petites connaissances en termes d'intelligence artificielle pour produire les fake news, ainsi de suite. C'est pour tout un régime, ces jeunes garçons qu'on a vus là, qu'on a embarqués pour essayer de manipuler l'opinion publique de tout un pays. Et ils ne feront pas plus que ça. La preuve en est que lorsque nous avons commencé à démontrer les limites, à démonter d'abord les fake news et la propagande malsaine qui était faite, et que nous avons démontré les fake news qu'il y avait, et c'est là où la violence a commencé. Parce que lorsque vous discutez avec un inculte, quelqu'un qui n'est pas intellectuellement élaboré, et vous allez vous rendre compte que les personnes qui sont violentes, même dans la violence conjugale, ainsi de suite, ce sont les personnes qui ne sont pas capables d'avoir une assise intellectuelle pour pouvoir discuter avec des partenaires. C'est exactement ça à quoi nous assistons maintenant de la part de ce gouvernement. Ils avaient prévu de manipuler l'opinion jusqu'à la fin, et ils avaient prévu que jusqu'à la proclamation des résultats, leur manipulation aurait suffi à mettre tout le monde au garde à vous, et ils n'avaient pas planifié ça. Or, quand on gouverne un État, il y a beaucoup de précautions à prendre. Il y a toujours un plan A, un plan B. On doit toujours savoir. D'ailleurs, lorsque vous êtes ministre, vous cotez un dossier à vos collaborateurs, vous vous attendez à ce qu'ils vous apportent des solutions en plan A, plan B, plan C. C'est-à-dire, si ce plan fonctionne, voilà ce qu'on va faire. S'il ne fonctionne pas, voilà ce qu'on va faire. Même en termes de communication, d'ailleurs, lorsque vous êtes chargé de communication d'une grande institution, vous prévoyez que si le plan A ne fonctionne pas, voilà ce qu'on va dire. Par exemple, je prends un petit exemple. Lorsqu'il y a un match de football, le team press officer d'une équipe, le sport person, doit savoir qu'en cas de victoire, voilà ce qu'on va dire comme message. En cas de nul, voilà ce qu'on va dire en fonction des enjeux, et en cas de défaite, voici ce qu'on va dire, et puis tout le monde est préparé à savoir ce qui va être envoyé comme communication. Ce n'est pas le cas, parce qu'au Cameroun, une fois encore, on n'aime pas dialoguer, parce que il me souvient, et c'est pas Maître Akpo qui va nous démentir, que la crise au Nozo a commencé pendant qu'il demandait aux gens de dialoguer, d'écouter. Je l'avais suivi plusieurs fois, où il appelait le gouvernement à écouter, simplement à écouter, même s'il ne voulait pas dialoguer, d'écouter seulement, mais ça n'a pas empêché qu'on l'arrête et qu'il se retrouve en prison. Parce que, pourquoi est-ce qu'il a été arrêté? C'est parce qu'ils avaient prévu que la manipulation à ce moment-là allait progresser. Et lorsque la manipulation n'a pas donné, et ils se sont rendus compte qu'ils avaient affaire à des personnes qui ont le cerveau, parce qu'on ne sait pas qui leur avait dit, comme ils ont certainement cru à l'expression qu'ils avaient développée, péjorative, où on vous disait ce sont des Bamenda. That means people who are not even able to use their own brain. Donc c'était ça. Et lorsqu'ils se sont retrouvés avec des gens qui avaient dans leur cerveau pour agir, ils étaient obligés d'utiliser la force pour les mettre en prison et essayer de les comprendre. C'est la même situation dans laquelle on est. On a perdu des hommes d'État au Cameroun, on n'en a plus. Mais vraiment plus. Les derniers hommes d'État qu'il y a dans ce gouvernement, les Laurent Esso, ils sont déjà aussi âgés que le président. Et d'ailleurs, ils ont été mis à l'éteignoir. Ils ne se font plus entendre. Malheureusement, nous sommes dans une république de gamins. Comme l'avait dit un philosophe en France, en parlant d'Emmanuel Macron il y a 5 ans, il avait dit « La France a mis un gamin à l'Élysée. Préparons-nous à en payer le prix. » Donc actuellement, nous avons des gamins au Palais de l'Unité. Préparons-nous à en payer le prix. Et c'est pour ça que le peuple ne doit pas reculer. Il faut les enlever pour reprendre l'État et le remettre sur orbite.
Thank you so much, Jean-Claude. This is really edifying because, just to summarize, I might not be the best translator here. Maybe Bernard can, but I think Jean-Claude is just explaining that for the first time, those who think that they are the best communicators and can relay things better to support the regime that is in place have just found themselves being countered by those that have been able to do the job meticulously. We've seen a lot of propaganda, use of AI. People are using AI to pretend as if to pass across propaganda messages, but they've encountered reactions from people, from big brains, from people like Jean-Claude, from human rights lawyers. People have come together to be able to counter some of the fake news, some of the AI publications that we've been seeing online in support of the regime that is in place. So this is something that we've not really seen before, Barrister Felix Nkongo. For the first time, Cameroonians are coming together as one man for something. Change, for one thing, which is change. Before, when we are talking about the Anglophone crisis, is in the northwest, southwest. When it was Boko Haram is in the far north. But for the first time now, we are talking about a national crisis, and everyone has taken it so personal. How important is this for the nation, for a nation like Cameroon, and how effective is this potentially going to be able to bring that change that the people of Cameroon so desire?
Well, the pain and suffering across the board is enormous. It affects everybody. It affects some people of the ruling party who went and voted Issa Chiroma because they also feel the cost of living. They feel unemployment. Their kids have gone to school and have not graduated. I always tell my friends, even those in the CPDM, I'm like, you know what? The Douala Boya route, everybody uses it. If you like, wear CPDM uniform from now till next month. If there's no water, there's no light, there's a garbage in town. So I think everybody feels the pain. That is why people overwhelmingly across the political spectrum voted for Issa Chiroma. This is a new dawn in Cameroonian politics. I think we see how history is being rewritten, that Cameroonians have come together, irrespective of religion, irrespective of language, irrespective of region. Cameroonians have built synergy across the board, and their common problem is the current regime. And they reacted by voting against the regime. Whether it will bring the regime down is something that you cannot tell. Nobody has a crystal ball. But what I see positive is the fact that we have broken the myth that Cameroonians cannot work together, that there's always infighting amongst Cameroonians. To me, that's the positive that I take. That 4 months ago or 5 months ago, nobody would have believed what we are seeing in Cameroon today. It shows also that when people are willing, they are determined, they are committed, they can move mountains. And this is what we see is happening. I don't want to raise hopes or expectations, but what I see is a people determined. It's a people ready to fight and defend their votes. It's young men and women who people used to laugh that they were not interested in politics. They have decided to take their destiny in their hands. And to me, it's a signal to the regime to understand that it's no longer business as usual. That the language that you use in this period of intense crisis, heightened tension, should not be the language of hate or provoking people. It should be a language of not because you have a hammer, everything becomes a nail. The time where you bully, where you terrorize the civilian population has passed. People are not scared of being arrested. People are not scared of press conferences from Atangachi. We have moved beyond that. He too should understand. And any arrogant person in government or in the ruling party should understand that for this country to move forward, they have to tone down that language. And if they are patriotic as they claim, if they love this country as they claim, they have to read the signals in the room. They have to understand that the people are determined this time, and they have to tone down. I will be blunt with you. There are people in this government who have contributed about 50% to the victory of the opposition because of their language, because of their tone, because of their manners, because of their arrogance. You cannot hijack a country. You cannot think that because you are a minister, you own this country. You can talk to people in a very condescending manner. They did that.
We are just having this breaking news that is coming.
But they are doing that to 30 million Cameroonians. And we say enough is enough.
Yes, we are having this breaking news that I can see on the screen. It says that Issa Shoma says that the people will not back down. Let me just quote him as well. We will not yield to fear or to manipulation. We remain united, mobilized, and will continue to resist until final victory. Before Bernard comes in, I just wanted us to move to another topic of discussion, which is the international community has started reacting. We have the European Union, Amnesty International, and Human Rights Watch have all called for independent investigations and accountability. Do you think that this is going to be enough pressure for the government in place? Or it's not going to create any impact? Is it not going to create any impact?
You missed the Secretary General of the UN also.
Yes, the Secretary General
of the UN also made a
The
statement.
European Union, Human Rights Watch, and Amnesty International. Yes. Is it enough pressure, or should people just say, okay, this is just any? Is this enough pressure, or should people just say, okay, let's continue and do our thing our way? We cannot look or depend on what the international community has to say.
This is a regime also that has been able to master the art of doing diplomacy and understanding the mindset of the international community also. These statements are good, but you cannot take these statements to the bank as if it's a collateral that with these statements, something would actually happen. We have seen where they've made statements in this country with regards to the Anglophone crisis, and nothing has really happened. So, I mean, they need to go beyond these statements. The public also has to keep up the pressure. But I am praying, and this is something also that for everybody who has Cameroon at heart, we should pray that this confrontation should not be very violent. That's why the Secretary General of the UN talked about use of excessive force, that the military should also exercise some restraint, because these are all Cameroonians, and also the protesters should ensure that they don't destroy public and private property, because no matter what, this is still property of Cameroonians, and if you cannot be fighting to liberate a country and at the same time destroying public and private property. So there's a need for the people in the Issa Chiroma camp also to increase these discussions, this talking to, reaching out to friends of Cameroon. We expect other countries, we expect Nigeria to make a statement, we expect other countries also. The AU should make a statement, ECOWAS, ECAS, they should also make statements, because whatever happens to Cameroon affects other countries in the CEMAC region, in the ECAS area, and equally in the entire Africa. So there's a need for them to make statements. There's a need for them to try to find some solution.
Yes, Barrister.
Some dialogue has to start. It has to start going on.
Yeah, Boris, I think at the fundamental level, the preliminary statements from international organizations is always going to be no excessive force, avoid violence, and they would avoid taking a stance as to who is a legitimate winner, because they want to revert to sovereignty and let state institutions actually decide who is the winner of the elections. But You made a statement about the destruction of property, both private and public. I want us to piggyback on this because that is always the bone of contention. The international community and human rights advocates always want that there should be no violence on both sides.
Yeah.
But there have been incidences where agents provocateurs have been identified within the protesters as part of them, whereas they have simply been planted by the opposing camp. So if protesters are going out on a peaceful demonstration, how do they identify the agent provocateur, especially in a situation where when there is destruction, the herd mentality pushes everyone to get into destruction instead of identifying and segregating them? So how would you advise, using your international law experience, how would you advise protesters to deal with people they identify as agent provocateur in the midst?
Ideally, some of these protests are supposed to be organized. Unfortunately, there are times when it becomes sporadic and not organized, where you don't really have a leader. But after a couple of days or hours, they find a way of having somebody who has to coordinate what they are doing. And I think that's also why in the UN and the EU statement, they talked about proper investigation, because also the state has mechanisms to put in place to be able to actually investigate, to know who actually did what, because it is not good for the image of the protesters if they are destroying public property, okay? Because you are trying to win the minds and hearts of people who might not be supportive of your cause, but they might have a soft spot for you. So you don't alienate them further away. And even people of the ruling party who might not have voted for you, they will think that change is necessary in Cameroon. So that's why we always pray, we always try to avoid getting into this situation. Because when you get into this situation,
in a situation like this one, in a situation like this one where Chiruma just said, get out into the streets and celebrate the victory and tell the Constitutional Council to respect the results from the ballot box. It can hardly ever be organized because it wasn't planned. He said it 2 days to the demonstrations. So it's very likely that the agent provocateur will find themselves in the midst. So how would they
in situations like this also, I would call on Mr. Chiruma to make a statement saying something as if, please make sure that you don't fall into the trap to be seen as if you guys are destroying private and public property, because you know that they will try to pin it on you. You know that they will try to tag you as a violent groupings of people who are just trying to steal, lazy people who are trying to steal. So I'm saying this out of experience because I'm in another situation. We used to issue communique late, like, please, make sure that you don't commit XYZ. You're dealing with a powerful state. I mean, they were talking about the way they were trying to manipulate the media. So you want to be on record also that you said it, okay? And some of the people can hold